Since my last training update documenting my running quest journey towards LA 2028, I suffered some bone stress on the lateral side of my right calf, which prevented me from doing any speed work and plyometrics in my training, to racing overseas for the first time in Tasmania, gaining lots of valuable insights from talking to Olympians and also from running, and also getting a great ton of race experience as well along the way, which I went into more detail and depth exactly what the lessons I learned are, which you can check out that video at the link up in the corner here. And also, aside from that, I'm in the fittest shape of my life, which became very clear to me in a race I did a few weeks ago at the Victorian Miles Club 800 meter C race, where I ran 1:58 minutes off a negative split. Now, 2 months ago, since my last training update, when I talked about how I won the Lancefield Open 800 meter gift, winning myself $600, I experienced for a period some bone stress on the lateral side of my right calf, which on the day I did feel. And what ended up happening in the process was every time I would do speed work or plyometrics, it just got worse, and worse. So what ended up happening was I had to take off a week or two from running or any high impact completely, having to translate all of my training sessions onto the elliptical to eliminate any contact, but still mimic running as much as we can. Which, the biggest thing about that period for me was I just felt so isolated as an athlete, because in my running quest, my life consists of I train full-time, I work full-time because I got to pay the bills. I'm not sponsored, not yet, and I'm making content full-time so that I can get the sponsors. And as a result of that, my social life only consists of those 3 areas. So because I don't have time to go socialize and go clubbing and all that, and they're very contradictory to my goals, as I only have this much amount of time to put towards these activities. And also in retrospect, I'm not in a state where I have a lot of time like other athletes who are my age and who already have the sponsorship, where they don't have to worry about trying to attract the sponsorships so that they can train full time. They're already doing that. But anyway, I'll go into a video more in depth about the struggles of my day-to-day life as an unsponsored athlete, which is really tough. And you can see why a lot of people quit on this running quest, because there's a lot involved in it. There's a lot of things you've got to think about, manage, and all on a budget as well, because like I said, you don't have that sponsorship money, which also is covering all your shoe expenses and travel expenses and everything too. But as I've heard from looking into it, sponsorship money isn't a lot anyway. It's still something, at least, so you don't have to work a full-time job. So when I was on the elliptical, yeah, I missed the social aspect, especially with training with my training buddies and everything at training. But I persevered through it anyway, because I knew that this was only for a short period of time. This wasn't going to be the rest of my running career on this elliptical. And what I also did too to get myself through it was, I don't know, you might think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I convinced myself that I was in a relationship with the machine. So I had to show up for it. I had to look after it and give it my time and work hard with it, you know, to make that relationship work. And I don't know, to me, I always found it really funny because, you know, I don't have a girlfriend anyway, so that's the closest thing I'm getting to one at the moment. We'll leave that. But it still was really challenging. Like, there's a big misconception with cross-training, I believe, or at least I had, where, oh, you're cross-training, so you don't get any fitness compared to running. You still do. It's just, you've got to still put in the work, like what you do for running. And also, you got to remember, like, of course, it's not going to be as effective as running, because the way that you get better at running is by running. So of course, running's the best, but if you don't have that, doing something is better than nothing. And with the elliptical machine, what makes it really great is it's the closest thing that you get to running. Anyway, some time passes and eventually I get back to training with my pals and everything. But I didn't just bounce straight back into training. It was a slow progression. Because essentially, from talking to my coach, the solution was I couldn't stop running. Because if I stopped running, then all my muscles and the bone density of my bones would just get weak and frail because I want to still keep running. But I couldn't continue running at the intensity that I did because it was only going to make my bone stress worse. So what we had to do was we had to just lower the impact for a period of time, but just slowly, like progression, slowly build it back up where I'd start to attend one of the running sessions a week and then another one. And then now I'm starting to pick up the intensity a little bit more. There's a lot of back and forths, but the important thing that got me out of this was just listening to my body and how it felt and responded to each training session, which is so important as an athlete. As if you just ignore your body completely, mate, that's a recipe for disaster. As the reason why you feel these sensory signals is that's your body's way of telling you what you're doing is causing damage or it's not. And you need to lay it down. So that's what I had to do. And moving on from that, during that build-up period where I was just getting back into running and the training that I was doing full-time, because at that time period as well, I was in PB shape as well. So I was a bit afraid that I'll lose some of it, but thankfully I didn't. I still had all the fitness that I had coming back from it, which how I knew this was I was performing the same in my workouts as I did before the elliptical. So good stuff. And then the next period was I raced overseas for the first time ever in Tasmania, which it counts because how I get over to Tasmania is via a plane over the sea. Overseas, you get it? So that counts. Anyway, so I raced in 3 carnivals, the Hobart 1K, then in Devonport and Burnie, I raced in the mile and the 400 meters, both. Now, the main purpose of this expedition was to build up that race experience, as since I'm coming in younger than all my other competitors into the sport, not now, landlord's calling me. She'll have to wait. Since my training age at this point is 2 years, I don't have as much race experience as all my other competitors. So they have that slight little edge for now on me. So I took this as a time period to go overseas for the first time, have that experience, meet Olympians because they were there too, get insights from them, and also to just learn as much as I can through racing. Because when I looked at my handicaps for the races too, they were tough. I was basically out of the race for every single one, which I hated because I hate losing, but that's just a part of the sport. So some of the Olympians that I met Tori West. So she was a heptathlete at the Paris 2028 Olympics. And also met this other dude, which I call him Sonic because I can't pronounce his name. He's Indian. He's a sprinter. And he was in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games as well. Which he knows a lot about the social media aspect, so I was talking to him quite a lot about it too. It was pretty cool, dude. Yeah. So how I ended up performing at these carnivals was at the 1K in Hobart, I got 3rd last, and at the 400 meter and the mile, I was getting 2nd last to last. And then in the Burnie 400 meter and mile, I also placed in similar positions again. So it wasn't a lot of fun because I like to win, not lose. But either way, I learned a great deal of race tactics and how to apply pressure on your competitors. Now for my final update. Tomorrow I'll be running at the Victorian State Championships in the Open 800, and I'm going for my 800 meter PB. So the time I've got to beat is 1:57.50, and this is my 2nd last chance to do it. Because there's only so many meets in the season where you're running against competitors who are at a similar ability to you or better, which that's the perfect conditions that you need to run a PB, or at least the easiest way for you to run a PB. Because when you're running with people who are faster than you, naturally they help drag you towards that PB, because whether they're faster than you or not, they give you a sense of distraction from the intensity that you're running at. Because for you to get a new PB, you got to run at a new intensity and bring yourself to a new level of discomfort you've never felt before. That's just how it works. Yeah. So I've been in PB fitness for a while. What's disrupted me from running it was just the types of races I run, me not having the confidence to actually execute it on the day, and having niggles that was disrupting my training the whole time. This is my moment now. This is my shot. Everything's coming together for this one occasion. So I'm going to make a video on that next. That'll be my next one that I'll come up, telling you how it went. And sorry for not being as consistent as I want to on this YouTube channel, uploading videos. It's been very tough at this moment to find time, especially with editing. It takes so long. But now, thankfully, I found someone to outsource my editing so that I can get more content out for you guys of this long format for you guys to learn and evolve and follow my journey towards LA 2028. So thank you for your support, and it's never too late to start your journeys.